Hello everyone, my name is Passek, FlyFish Fanatic, and welcome to my tying bench. Today we're going to play around a little bit more, continue on with my beginner series for fly tying. So this is just a series where I'm going to I already did one on tools, I did a one on basic on materials, I went a little bit more in depth on dubbing. Today I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on synthetic body materials, stuff that I like using for body, ribs, that kind of stuff. Sometimes even tails and wings. It depends on what you're doing and how you use the product, but I'm just going to show you some of the synthetic products out on the market and how I use them and how they can be used. Again, I'm just going to use a big old ugly, I don't even know what they are, mustad, oh there we go, mustad size 4-5 extra long standard streamer hook. It's an old thing I picked up at a garage sale. So I'm just gonna show you guys how to use this stuff. It's gonna be not tying a fly actually. I'm just gonna tie the material and show you guys. So there's a ton of different materials you can look at. Anything from stuff like these straggle strings, right? That just happens to be a blue one. To these dirty bug yarn, things like that, nymph dub. There's a bunch of other stuff out there. Quick dub. You can go to your local Fanny's Fabrics, that kind of stuff, and you can pick up, or Walmart, pick up stuff like this. This is really good stuff for making leeches. It gets really buggy when you wrap it. There's materials like these scudback, pearl scudback from hens. There's this stuff. I picked this stuff up from a company called Royal CC out of it's a Chinese, but it's like they call it bug flesh. They're little strips and tapered. Work really well to make these segmented bodies. There's like rubber legs or rubber stretch floss. So that's one. Semperfly has it on little rolls like this, so it's really stretchy, right? There's materials like this body rib from Semperfly. There's like poly yarns and other yarns like this that are obviously all synthetics. There's things like these perfect quills, and things like these again. I got these from a inexpensive website, but I'm just trying them out, seeing how the quality is in comparison to Semperfly stuff. And so far, the Semperfly stuff it's just a better quality. Now, if you're going to be tying a bunch of big old ugly streamers and nymphs and stuff like that, this stuff will do as well. And then there's stuff like these, you know, and then there's always your scudback, that type of thing, right? So I'm just gonna use a couple of them on a hook here and just show you guys the kind of stuff, like what it looks like when it's being used and how to use the stuff. So here we go. Let's play around. Like I said, it's just a junky old hook, so I'm just going to use some Semperfly Nano Silk in white. Just throw it on. Doesn't really matter. Like I said, it's not going to be a fly of any sort. It's just going to be showing you guys how to use the materials and what it looks like once you've used them. And so let's start off with something like these, right? This is like a body, like a body rib. So we'll try this one here is the root beer fiery brown, they call it, from Semperfly. It's the body rib. So the cool thing with these body ribs is you can use the whole thing, but if you want a smaller fly, you can actually pull the core. There's a little core inside there. You can actually pull that core out and just have the outer and use that, or the inner and use that. So it all depends on what you're doing. But for smaller flies, I would definitely be taking the core out. So I'm just tying that in. make sure it's tied in nicely, no matter what you're doing, right? And then I'm just going to wrap it, right? So, but you can see that it creates actually a decently segmented body, right? So, and then I'll cut that off. And there you go. So I'm going to actually turn down my little light here in the front, because it kind of glares off of that body rib and stuff. So, but yeah, so you can see that it does that. Now, like I said, if I wanted to, I could take that, and I'll see if I can easily do it on camera here. I can do it off camera, no problem, but I'm just going to grab the core if I can, and then there you go. So, depending on how you want to do it, right, there's your core, and you can use that, right? Or you can use just the outer layer. So here we go with the outer, right? So it's going to look a little different than the first one. It's going to be a little lighter. It's going to be a little smaller, thinner, right? So nip that off, and then I'll just show you what the inner looks like. Right, so now I could use this to make up a nice floss looking almost body, right? Or butt section or hot spot, whatever, right? So there's like 3 different uses from the same piece of... Got switched over, sorry guys. So yeah, so I don't know where it got switched over, but so up to this point, it's the full thing. Up from this point to this point, it's just the outer core, outer section, sleeve, and from that point to that point is the inner core. So it's 3 different looks with the same material. You can use, if you want, you can take this and make it as a rib, right? It'll rib nicely. Many, many uses. You can even pull this apart and make it even thinner, right? So, okay, so that's your body rib type of material, right? This one from Semperfli. Can't remember what this one's from, but similar, right? So then you've got, and let's see if we, yeah, I should have enough room to do a couple more things here. This is going to be some stretch floss from Semperfli. And I'm not worrying about how I'm tying things on, right? So now with the Semperfli stuff, I can just use this as a full body. I can open it up as a rib if I want, right? You see how that has come apart? So I can even do that, right? If I want it to be slightly thinner, if I don't want a thicker, like a bigger rib, I can actually peel this open and now have a thinner rib. Or I can leave it together and have a thicker rib, right? If that's what I want, or a thicker body. So there is a lot of uses to this stuff. Again, just going to tie that off because it's just looking ugly right now. But I could do that and that, and then tie this back and use these. Oops, sorry, I'm just obviously hurrying and stuff here, but I could also tie this stuff back and use them as little legs. And cut that off, and there's my little legs if I wanted to use them that way, right? So it all depends on what you want to do with it. I also use it for, I'm just tying this just so it's out of my way. I also use these in the brighter colors, like that, for cheeks on my chronomid. So I'll just tie it in on the, as an example, on the underside. I'll get it on the underside like that, bring it back to there, and then I would bring it up along the side like I'd cut this off, obviously, and then I'd have it up along the side like that, and there's my cheek on my chronometer, right? So many different uses for this stuff as well. I find it awesome for ribbing bodies and making bodies, the chronomids and stuff. A friend of mine, Gary Hankey, out of Alberta here, Edmonton, he'll actually tie a whole fly using nothing but this stretch floss. That's all. The whole fly will be tied with this. There's no thread. It's called the threadless TLC, threadless Renomed. So, and that's all he'll use is just body rib. Not body rib. Sorry, stretch flex. So, okay, let's see what else we can do here. Just one last little bit here for this hook, and then I'll switch over to another hook. But so this is the hen's pearl scudback. So again, I'm just taking this stuff. It's fairly wide, right? So there's a few things I can do with this. I can just tie it on, and I can wrap it forward as a body if I want, or I can tie it on, make sure it's sitting right up on top of whatever kind of fly I'm tying, a scud or whatever. Make sure it's right up on top. Then I could dub the body, let's say, put a little bit of dubbing on there. Well, actually, I can just grab tiny a little bit of dubbing just to show you quickly. Anything, just any little piece of dubbing, no matter what, because like I said, I'm not making a fly. But gotta slow down. And just put a little bit of dubbing on. Just make a little bit of a thorax section, let's say, and then I can put this up over top. Tie that off. Make sure it's sitting up on top. As an example, and there you go. You've got a little shell back, right, on whatever you're tying. So there's other ways to, and now you can cut this off nice and tight, or sometimes what I like doing is I'll tie this back, right, almost back onto itself, and then I'll cut it a little long, just a little bit long, like that, and then you can give it a bit of a brush out with Velcro or whatever, and it'll kind of spread apart, break apart, and then you can almost use it like a wing, right, up top. You can make it a little longer than that if you want. So again, several different uses for the material. So yeah, let's just cut that off. Get that out of the way. Throw another one on. Hey, it looks almost, that thing we just finished there almost looks like the first fly I ever tied. Kidding. But yeah, experiment, right? And just go and use cheap hooks, right, when you're doing this kind of stuff. And I'll take this now and take a razor to it and cut it all off. Like I said, it's just to show you guys. So let's see, do I have one? Yeah, so this is another one. This is a micro glint. This one happens to be from Semperfly, but there's other brands out in the market. So this is a micro glint. Again, I love using this stuff for bodies. So I'm just gonna start it back here. Okay, and now just go back over top. Cut that off. There you go. There's already a body. Obviously, I'd have to make it either thicker or have it on a smaller hook, but that's it, right? Just build up as you want it, and there's your body, and it comes in a absolute myriad of colors. It's I mean, it's in purples and reds and greens and blacks and rainbow and all kinds of different colors. So one of the flies I tie, again, from a buddy, Gary Hankey, is the Alberta Boatman, and it's all this micro glint and rubber legs. That's it. Two rubber legs, one on each side, and this is body, just back and forth until you get the right taper for your boatman, and done. And it's absolutely deadly. So yeah, so now I'm just going to come forward in open wraps just because. And then I'm going to take my whip finisher just so you guys can see, and I can actually whip finish this stuff. Don't pull too hard because you will break it. It is a little on the brittle side, but I mean, it's still able to bend that hook a bit. So, and then just cut it off. So there's that micro glint. Excellent material. Then there's stuff like I showed you guys a little earlier here. This is dirty bug yarn. from Semperfly. So I'm just going to take my white thread and plop it back on. Just cares what it looks like. Cut it off. Add on my piece of dirty bug yarn. Come back over top of some of that micro glint. Okay, and now I can wrap it. Touching wraps. Forward. And now if I want to make make it look like a bit of a tapered body, I can do that and then come back forward again. And you see how it makes a nice tapers that body a bit, makes a bit of a cone shape or whatever, you know. So that I can do that, and then I can cut it off, and I can leave it just like that. Or if I really want it nice and buggy looking, now I can take my Velcro and I can just really rough that stuff up, and it'll get buggier, and you can have it more leechy like almost, right? So it all depends on the look you want, right? What else? Okay, let's go with some straggle string, micro straggle string, straggle legs. Let's go with some straggle legs because they're nice and big and you can see how they lay. So this just happens to be again some Semperfly and a fluorescent orange. So I just tie it on. Now you can just fold these legs back when you tie it in if you want. It's up to you, but again, just wrap it. And what I like doing is just making sure I stroke it all back every time. Right. And then again, same thing, just tie that off. Cut off your waist. Again, you can take your Velcro brush and just pull out any of those little legs that got caught. And there you go, right? And it comes in a lot of colors. The other thing is it comes in a lot of different lengths too. Like here's a really short piled one. This is the this is new for 22. It's the gel core micro fritz, right? So it's the same material, but with the legs are like almost non-existent. They're tiny, right? So again, depending on what you're tying, and you can go back over top if you want to build it up a bit, right? And it comes in again a myriad of colors. So right, so bingo bango. So that's the gel core micro fritz, right? Really small, short little legs on that, right? So, and then you can have like your legs that are a little bit longer, right? So this is the micro chenille. So again, it's going to be the same type of material, but in little legs that are shorter than the first one, but longer than the second one, right? So it all depends on what you're doing. And I actually like using this as a, just so you can see what it does, I like using it as a rib as well, because then it'll spike right through, right? So I use this stuff as a rib as well through like hackle and things. And not hackle, sorry, dubbing. Right? Tie that off, cut that off, and there you go, right? So there you can see that again, legs are a little bit longer, but not as long as the first ones. So some of these synthetics are really great. I mean, they really have changed our game, our fly tying game. They're not as sensitive and stuff. Throw that away. Put another one on. So they're definitely a lot easier to tie with. They're stronger. They don't break as easy. Most of them, not all. And a lot of them have a lot of flash to them. A lot of them don't, right? I mean, there's the quick dub that's got a little bit of flash in it, and then there's stuff like the dirty bug yarn. There's no flash in it. It just makes it. This is almost like a quick way of doing a dubbed body, right? Just put this on, and it looks like almost like you've dubbed it, right? When you've wrapped this on, right? It almost looks like you've dubbed that body. So. It is an easier way to do it if you're having problems with dubbing and stuff and haven't quite caught onto that. Look for this kind of stuff, these dirty bug yarns and stuff. They're a good substitute. Or even, like I said, this stuff here that I've picked up at, I think I picked this up at Fanny's Fabrics, right? You can, just let me plop this back on again. So, and it doesn't always have to be wrapped body material, right? You can also use it as wings and depending, right? Depending what you're using and how you're using it. So this is this. It's a big ball of wool that I bought at, like I said, Fanny's Fabrics or Walmart or whatever. And I just wrap it, and these long fibers I'll just pull back every time I come around. All right, just do one more, and I'll come back again. Just to show you, just roughly tie that off. Who cares? Again, and then I'll take my Velcro, right, and I'll pull it out, and there you go. You got yourself really nice leech material, right? So you could use that just like that as a tail, or you can do the whole body with it. It's up to you, right? Experiment, play. Then here, we'll just go with the cheaper stuff. I'm not going to open my Semperfli one because that one's sealed, and might as well go with the cheaper stuff because I'm going to throw it away anyway. Here, let's go with there's a green. So this is like a mayfly body type of material. Some of it's got a sticky back, some of them don't. This one, the cheap one that I'm using, doesn't. The Semperfli one has a sticky back, so it kind of helps it a bit. This one has a little bit of a sticky, but you can see that it's kind of got a little bit of a black stripe in with the green. So again, just tie that down, and that might not have been the best place to tie it down because there's that big bump there, but who cares? So again, so now I'm just gonna, in touching wraps, I don't want to overlap the last wrap. I just want to do that, and that way it's going to give me that segmented look of the insect's body, right? Of whatever, the mayfly or whatever you're tying. So, right. So I'll give you a segmented look. Right, and now some of these have if you take a look at like the Semperfli one here, it's got a skinny end and a fat end, right? So you want to make sure that you put it on the way you want it, right? Usually I like having the bigger segments at the back and coming to smaller. So just make sure you are keeping an eye on that. Where is the other? Do I have another? Yeah, there's another pack of this stuff open. Oh, no, I don't. Sorry. I thought I had some of this cheap stuff that I said I bought. I thought I had another pack open, but doesn't matter. I'll just use this stuff. This is, again, like I said, I picked the stuff up off of I think it's AliExpress just to try it, see what it's like, right? So it's like a stretchy bug. They call it bug flesh, but it's quite a stretchy material, and it's flat on one side. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's one side is flat, one side is half round. So, right, and then you just kind of stretch it and wrap it forward, and it gives you that really nice wormy type segmented look. And the more I stretch it, the thinner it gets too, right? So don't forget about the back there, because that was tied on that nymph dub, that quick dub. But okay, what the heck is going on there? Here we go. Right, so now I'm just going to tie that off at the front here, and it's going to give me that little buggy kind of segmented worm kind of look, right? So we'll cut that off. Again, I'm not doing a nice job, obviously. But it just shows you that you can, if you're nice and loose, you can have it bigger. The tighter you get it, the tighter it'll look on the hook. And that's the same with any of there's quite a few of these synthetic bug body type stretch flosses and stuff out there that you can use to do the same type of thing. I'm just going to go back over top of that just because I don't really care. And I'm going to show you one more thing here. So this is the Semperfli poly yarn. Again, multiple uses for this one. I can pull this apart and make it thinner. I can tie it on as a whole unit like it is, and then wrap it, right? Tie that off. Cut that off. Again, doesn't really matter. I don't care what it looks like. I can also take it and come back a little bit. Just tie it right in on the top. Catch those ends, right? And make myself a wing. There's so many different things you can do with so many of these different materials, right? So it's just a lot of stuff is experiment, right? Just experiment, play, use different materials, right? Like I said, there's and I haven't even touched stuff like your mylars and your tinsels, your oval tinsels, pearl tinsels, things like this. This flat tinsel from Semperfli. This stuff is awesome. It's really it breaks really easy, like really easy when you're using it. So, but it once it's on, man, oh man, does it leave a beautiful. Like, I love this one especially here. This mirror tinsel. I use this one and this one for ribbing on chironomids. It's just absolutely deadly. You just got to be a little careful with it because it is a bit brittle if you touch the hook tips, but that's with any of the material that's this sensitive, this small, right? It's not Semperfli, it's any of them, right? So there's all kinds of stuff, and then there's also Uniglow, right? You've got your Uniglow stuff. And Semperfli's got this one, which is the same stuff. It's UV Cheeky, it's called. So again, you can use that. Excellent for ribbing, excellent for body, excellent for like hotspot cheeks on chironomids and Dahlbachs and things like that. There's your hollow tinsels, right? All different sizes and different colors. Again, can be used as ribs, can be used as body material. So there's, like I said, there's a ton of different synthetic materials out there that can be used. I'm just going to switch over so you guys are not staring at an empty vise. There's a ton of different materials out there that can be used, synthetics that can be used for fly tying. You just gotta pay attention out there and see what's out there, right? There is so much stuff out there that you can just pick up at fly shops. You can pick up at Walmart. You can pick up at Joann's or Michael's or Fanny's Fabrics or whatever craft and hobby and sewing type stores you have around. Just keep an eye open and look. There's a ton of stuff, and like I said, and then there's a ton of companies like Semperfli that's what they specialize in. Semperfli specializes in synthetic materials. They don't do naturals. They don't do the marabous and the natural feathers and all that kind of stuff, right? So, yeah. So just like I said, keep your eyes open out there and play with these synthetic materials. They really have changed our game on how things are done. A ton of these are. Let's see if I can show you on site here. A ton of these are extremely UV. Like look at that. I mean, it just shines off it like a traffic light, right? So there's a lot of UV properties to a lot of this material. Again, you got just some of that stuff. It just shines, right? This is the straggle legs from Semperfli, but they call it the black. But it just absolutely shines the little blue particles that are in there, right? That's UV properties. So there's a lot of synthetics that are taking advantage of UV properties nowadays, and I use a lot of synthetics. I use a lot of naturals, but I think I use about probably 50-50 now, maybe 60% naturals and 40% synthetics in my tying. When 20 years ago it was probably 85-90% natural with 10 to 15% synthetics. But synthetics have come a long way to not only be stronger but look natural too, right? Or almost natural, and to have those UV properties, and again shortcuts like this. In my opinion, this dirty bug yarn is one of the game changers out there, because I mean, for those guys that don't know how to do dubbing yet, I've had quite a few questions with people that watched my last tutorial video on how to dub. And I tell you, this stuff here looks just like dubbing when you've put it on right. So, and it's a lot easier to do. So it's one of those things. And again, you can get it in different piles, like different lengths and stuff. And yeah. So yeah, just hopefully that worked for you guys. Hopefully you guys learned something new. Like I said, don't worry about the flies. They're obviously ugly. Just showing you how they work, what they look like. And there's many, many, many uses to this stuff. You don't just have to use it as body material. It can be used as wings and legs and hackles and ribbing and like all kinds of stuff, right? Some of this stuff can be used as tails. Like I really like taking stuff like this and actually pulling off the material. I can just pull it right off and actually make my own dubbing out of it, right? It's hard to see, but there you go, right? So I can make my own dubbing and, right, it's all, yeah, it's all experimenting and playing. So, alrighty, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I hope you guys learned something from it. Yeah, pass that on to anybody that's new and is just learning. And any questions, feel free to ask them here on the comment on this video, or find me on Facebook or on any other social media platform, the FlyFish Fanatic. And yes, ask me some questions, and I'm always happy to help. So if you've subscribed, thank you. If you have not, consider doing so, and we'll see you guys on the next time video. Thailand's.